he's going to search this top nicely, and he evaporated.
Oh, Kissay! Bang. Oh, we're back. Welcome back to the LCO, delivered by Menulog. My timing was off. It's like when Skimmy yells Tapoon, he always tries to go Tapoon at the same time, but he always barely misses the mark. You'll get it by week 10.
I'll do it at LAN again. The whole audience is going to say it
Live
with us.
edition.
True. Can you imagine 1,000 people saying it at once? It's going to be our own version of "See."
Yeah. It could be. It could be.
Could be.
You know, we could enable that really easily, as long as Tapoon's there, which he will be, because Chiefs are already locked into DreamHack. By the way, we're not here to talk about Chiefs. We're talking about Kanga. We're talking about Gravitas, but let's talk Kanga first, because they are on a damn win streak. They're looking better than ever with Ben V added down towards that bot lane. He is the new support. He's also cracked on the Yasuo, which I found out last week. Not generally in the support role, I'm just saying he's pretty damn good. But the chemistry, the cohesion in this team is so good, and it's why I believe they're going to make it all the way to that 5th position and slide on into playoffs.
Yeah, I'd say so. Big Faker Fido, locking in all the highlight clips because he's an absolute weapon on these control mages. Really looking to see him continue in that form. The team as a bot lane pairing now. We've had so many subs on this roster, but they just seem to grow from strength to strength, which is phenomenal to say the least.
Yeah.
Upgrading across the board, and yeah, Ben V and Lemus look ever so comfortable. So I'm really excited to see what they bring out here today.
Well, what they're bringing out is, I guess, their A game, because they're up against Gravitas, so Gravitas always have a chance. You know, they always look a little good at certain points of the game, but sometimes things just crumble. And look, Kanga, usually you'd say this is one of the teams where Gravitas had a real good chance of getting that win on the board. But with what I've seen lately, I don't know how good of a chance they have. Look, Toppy's always doing a decent job up top, but I feel like maybe it's the time where you put him on something that scales, give him a Paparize angle, and allow him to do something. But Rusty, what are they really looking to do in terms of their goals, you know, towards the end of the split? Because they're out of the running for the playoffs now. They are pretty much stuck in that last place position because the next team has 5 wins. So are they just playing to play spoiler?
I mean, we had a conversation with their coach, and that was basically the answer we were given as well, right? The only thing left for Gravitas is to be the blue shell, to try and upset the top of the table, even be a banana and upset the middle of the table right now as everyone's fighting for 5th, just as much as they are for being in top 3. So yeah, Gravitas are just going to live their best life. They're going to play spoiler. They get to play without inhibitions, without risk, without danger of being eliminated themselves, and that is usually when a team is most dangerous. So we might get some wacky picks as well.
Lenia, please, I'm talking to you directly. We're seeing Hecarim played in the LCS and LEC. Do it. One time. You came into this region and said, I'm a bit of a Hecarim one-trick. We prayed every single game. Please, just one time for the homies.
Just one time.
One time.
Just play your favorite champion. Surely it's going to work that little bit better than some of the other champs that come through. We've been praying for it for weeks now. Is today the day, Kitty?
The angle is they pick the Hecarim and then they pick the Yuumi, and that makes the Hecarim combo unkillable. Okay. And that is the window to success because
and faster.
You know what I call that comp? I call it the Neon Cat combo.
Sorry.
Chem tank around, boom, one shot.
Well,
and Hecarim also has that like rainbow skin too, right?
Exactly. Thank you, Mac.
I'm on board.
Fair enough.
Sorry, Kitty. Sorry.
Yeah, continue.
I've lost my train of thought after
Yuumi
Neon
or Hecarim?
Yuumi on Hecarim. Okay, yes. So Piglet, we do know that he gets called quite a little bit, and then if he's on Lenia most of the time, then he can't die because he is Yuumi the cat. True. So that is.
And Yuumi is very easy. I would say the most inflated champion in ranked. So it's pretty hard to mess up.
Either way, the lane we're going to be looking at in this head-to-head for this matchup is that ADC role. So let's have a quick look at the difference between the two. So T-Shen has been popping off for Gravitas, and you got Lemus doing a lot of the heavy lifting. He actually had a turning point, right, where it felt like he wasn't getting involved, wasn't being part of the team in terms of fights. Always sort of that guy that was just off to the edge and would run away and play for his own KD. But there was a specific moment where he started to really get involved, pump the numbers, and just start to really do his job for Kanga.
Yeah, we need to ignore the fact that Karma is his second most played because he did have that episode on Kanga, but I believe that he also plays quite a bit of Aphelios because he is quite known for the Gale Force Aphelios in mid lane where he is that aggressive ADC.
I think you raise a really good point as well, though, Max, because back in Split 1, he had a very quiet performance, right? I'm thinking, we've heard all these great things about his aggression. Is he just having stage nerves? What's happening, sort of like translating solo queue scrims into the games themselves? The turning point that I always remember fondly is when he played with Hayden. They played the center Cho'Gath, and they just looked completely rejuvenated. So something happened, something clicked, and now a well-oiled team.
Yeah, and with the new support in bot lane, things just keep on going up as well. T-Shen, of course, he had a big pop-off game on the Kalista a couple of weeks ago. And maybe we get to see that again. You know, Kalista's still heavily in the meta right now. And also, the other thing that, you know, Kalista enables you to do is control your support. If they just get a little bit too fancy with it, you can pull them back.
We can't pick Kalista because you can't pick Yuumi with Kalista. Stop saying this,
Okay.
guys.
Sorry. Well,
The
someone
Yuumi win comes
that
gone.
picked
Okay,
Yuumi
GG.
last week, he's on the line. We got Benvi here, Mr. Undefeated, doing work. And just tell me about your Yasuo real quick, because I heard you were playing with a cracked Diana.
Oh yeah, no, my Diana just carried me that game. I don't know what to say. He's handsome, he can play Diana, he can set up for his mid laner. What can't he do?
Well, I'm
I don't know.
assuming the Diana is this handsome fellow right
was
next
me.
to me. So we were having the conversation that we are thinking that Gravitas might bring out the Kalista or maybe even the Yuumi. So what do you do if you pick Yuumi and your ADC picks Kalista?
You finish the game in 15 minutes. Maybe not getting the win.
Yes, 15 minutes.
Okay. Now I heard you are, you know, a draft lord of sorts, right? So when you're going up against a team like Gravitas, are you just playing to get out of there real quick, go for that early game, you know, knife to the throat, or are we just thinking about scaling? What's the go here?
I'm not sure what we're thinking. I think we just want to have some fun. So whatever picks the fun is what we're gonna go for, I think.
And I do know that you have some really cute puppets, so can we please get a signer from you and the puppets as we
Yes.
head into your... Oh, that's so cute!
He was ready. He's on your lap.
Yeah, I was ready. And the other one,
The other
if
one.
he'll wake
It's
up.
on the bed.
If he wakes up.
Oh.
Okay.
What are their names real quick?
Mango and Millie.
Beautiful.
Yes.
So
I
cute.
love me a piece of mango in the morning.
Ooh.
Love a little scratch on the mango.
Oh, no,
Anyway,
like
I'll come meet him one day, maybe.
All right, well, best of luck in your match, and hopefully we get to see more of your doggo and you win more.
Alright, see you guys. Thank you.
Dogs just do things to me, man. I
Dogs are
just
so cute.
want to give them pats.
I'm gonna cry. Sorry.
Want some pats? You want
I
some
like a
pats?
good letter theme on names as well, both starting with M.
Yeah, that's true.
It's M&M's.
That's sure.
They're sweet and yummy.
Yeah. Okay.
That's what Max said.
That's awesome.
That's what Max said.
That's awesome.
Am I not just backing up the man?
I think the LCO might be cancelled.
What? M&M's
Things
being
that
sweet
we've been
and yummy.
saying tonight. Not that. Not just that.
Hey,
Just a culmination.
did you want to start talking about sausages again, or do you want to talk
I
about the
mean,
Dare
low-key.
fan vote? Because you
I
guys
mean-
in chat certainly have some
Went
Twitch
wrong.
points to use.
Oof.
Yeah.
You said it.
Should get a little saucy sizzle. little bit
Dare
ketchup.
fan vote.
I've
Get
opened
your
a can of
points
worms.
in. Put in all your points or you suck.
That's
There.
exactly what I usually say as well. Twitch chat, I hate you.
That's what I
don't-
usually say.
That's, yeah, it's usually, but yeah, we
It's
swapping
opposite
spots.
day.
Mm.
Yeah.
Opposite day.
Anyway, let's look at what we voted for.
Rusty's just stealing the reins.
Up the Kanga.
Across
Okay.
the board.
Right, me. Oh, Skimmy, you're only 1 point ahead now after that ambitious peace pick. And Rusty and I, we are
Yeah.
happy to hop at your heels. Unfortunately, you know, that's not going to happen this game, but keep an eye out for tomorrow, huh?
Oh, well, you know, a happy team's a happy day. So, you know, showing the love across the board.
All right.
Just love working with everyone here.
Now, we
Back
spoke
to
about
compliment.
sausages. We spoke about predictions and their fan votes, all those things that need to be spoken about before the game, of course.
True.
But Skimmy, you haven't spun any yarns today. So, Gravitas, how do they win here?
All right, Max. So, as already mentioned, the Nyan Cat combo is going to come out. We're going to say, that's so cute, that's so fuzzy. It's going to mind control Ben V into saying, I wish that was my pet as well. He's going to adopt that as well into the mix of things. There's going to be a post-game interview because they're going to win, but somehow Gravitas are going to be in the mix of things. And then Toppy is just going to 1v9 as a Fiora. It's going to happen. He's going to say, forget about my rest of my team. I'm on a mission to Mars.
Sometimes you've been crazily
Wow.
accurate with these yarns, by the way. You'll ask for something and all of a sudden it starts to half come true. So I really
On
want
the
to see,
spot, off the dome.
once we get to draft, how close you are.
We need
Grom.
Gravitas to not first pick
On
Silas
Grom,
because
for
it's
real.
one none of the times. We need Gravitas to put Poppy on Fiora because I do know that whole break of Fiora, we need that as well.
Okay.
Kitty,
Oh.
Kitty. Champ select's ready. So it's our time to go. Goodbye.
See ya.
Champions Select, let's go. Kanga Esports on the left-hand side. Let's see what they deny away. The Dajong Zoe tax had to be paid. They've denied it. And a Seraphine ban, which seems pretty rare for today.
Yeah, I mean, we actually haven't seen too much Seraphine at all today, and the Yone are going to be sure to follow here, so just really targeting Dajong and his champion pool. Thomas Shen probably can play the Seraphine, but let's be honest, he won't. Not with what we've been seeing from him lately. He's much more of the carrier of the team. I feel like that would be very disingenuous to the Shen to have him on more of a utility mage or enchanter, as they are otherwise called. And questions now about what the first pick is going to be. We've seen a lot of Silas, actually, is just the outright first pick. Kanga, we know that Fido likes this. Have we seen Fido play Silas? I don't know if we have, actually, which is definitely something that can get raised as a draft point. Yumi's still on the cards, Zeri taken away.
No. Quick fact check. He's had his own different take on what is strong.
Knock fiddle, knock fiddle. Lock it in, nocturne, fiddlesticks. If they were listening to me last week, that was what I asked for. They weren't.
Toppy had one chance, mate.
He did, he had
My
one.
yarn is gone. Now I look like a fool.
Toppy back to his comfort pick, though. Nara is one of his most played champions.
Oh? T-Shen does like a cheeky vein angle.
I mean, the Vayne is an answer to Zeri. We saw the Sivir hover as a high chance it just goes back to that and you lock that one in. My question becomes what goes with the Sivir, because I feel like we've seen a whole host of different things that have gone with Sivir. Bard, because, you know, you can play double utility, weak side type champion pools, right? Just survive the lane. The Nautilus, who can roam as well, so they feel very similar champion fantasies in how you play them out in a competitive sense. I would like to see, again, something fairly similar. Sivir is so safe by herself, and in most 1v1s, should be fine and shouldn't die.
Yeah.
I would say that Zeri is in that list of champions that can't kill you.
Sure. Certainly can deny a fair bit of that burst. Both fairly short range in that regard as well. Oh, this would be interesting. I remember actually craving a cheeky Blitzcrank game weeks and weeks ago. I think it has been popping up occasionally elsewhere in the world. But as far as things go, I think when you do talk about these hyper-scaling champions like a Zeri, like a Sivir, you want those enchanters that have been completely denied in both games here today. Okay. Just completely bait me.
Dajong going to channel his inner human. Straight up with the Akali. I mean, I guess you'd say it could be flexible, but not with the draft that you've seen of Gravitas so far. That should just confirm what both solo laners are going to be. Gravitas are instead going to hold their support and their jungle pick to go further down the champion pool list here. You would like a jungler that has setup if you're Gravitas, I feel like. You want something like, you could go Trundle, right? It's like a soft setup champion that just protects the Sivir. The fact that the Jarvan was banned is an odd one, given that it is only the Sivir that would be caught out so far with a lack of mobility. Unless you're looking at an Udyr.
A Mumu banned away.
Mumu gone.
I've seen Piglet lock that in once upon a time. Played that with a Callisto. Cheeky game up against Peace.
I feel like we're just looking at a Yuumi. Like for Gravitas here with this last ban, surely you're looking at Kanga saying it's definitely just a Yuumi angle. They've just built engage for top lane. You've got a Zeri already locked in. You could go Lulu. The reason that you could go Lulu is that both Zeri and Azir gain from an Ardent Sensor style support, right? Double attack speed, so carries so far.
Yeah, good point.
So Lulu's actually going to be banned. Still Yuumi just super on the cards, and in fact he's going to be taken. Kanga don't want it.
Yeah.
I respect it.
Yep, the enchant attacks once again denying the super insane champions. There is still Renata up and available, or whether or not Gravitas want to pair that with the Sivir here. Would perhaps give us a little bit more insight into why they were concerned about a Jarvan.
And we'll see if it's a case of predictable Piglet if he goes for the Nautilus, just because it is a safety net for most people. And we've got the Hecarim. That does mean that the Yuumi ban was on the money.
Thank you very much, Lenia.
Sivir with
Look at that
Hecarim
smile, he's happy, man.
is a fantastic combo. If you were Gravitas and you were going to just double down on your Hecarim carry, I would just say it again. I'm just going to be a broken record. Karma.
Let's go.
Karma. Karma Sivir double move speed bot lane just enables your jungler to be a nightmare.
It's the Trundle as well, which is the last game that Foreigner played up against Direwolves. Had a very impressive showing in that game, if I remember correctly. Some very clutch pillars, denying a fair bit of mobility as well. We'll do a fair bit of work in this game also. And because Gravitas have passed up the opportunity to go for that Renata, it's up then and available. Pair it with the Zeri, still incredibly proficient. Everybody gains benefit from this.
Yeah, lots of carries to be protected by the Renata, give them second lives as well if they are assassinated. I mean, there's definitely value in this Renata pick. The Trundle itself as well means that they can look towards more of a front-to-back play style, right? And just try and take out the first person in line, work your way down the list. Always dangerous to do that into a Sivir. Akali can flank, but Hecarim's going to be the prime target alongside Toppy there. Just be taken apart instantly, and this is a curveball that I did not see coming.
So bizarre. I mean, Gravitas have literally put together Need for Speed Underground 3. They've just literally gone fast, fast, fast. They've all got Nitro, so all just going to be boosting at you, but do they have the damage within those windows?
Yeah, they've got the Sivir to press go, and then everyone just hits turbo for sure. It's not... I mean, the Rakan pick ultimately gives them a guarantee to engage, right? Like, they've got themselves now the quickness, the RW combo from Rakan, just to find a target. And immediately the follow-up can be there by Gravitas, because that was really the one thing that I think their composition was going to be missing out on if you're looking to engage. So I see some merit in the Rakan pick. They have a solid damage mix. The reality is, when you have an Akali mid, you want to have no other AP damage source on your composition so that she can build the Shadow Flame items, and they're not going to build magic resistance as successfully. So that makes sense. But at the same time, they also have 3 AD-based champions, so the armor will be very valuable. And there's not going to be a lot of armor pen purchased by anyone other than the Sivir.
Yeah. But yeah, are you happy with the direction, I suppose? Overall, this feels a lot more like comfort, right? Dajong on an assassin if he's not got that Zoe available. Lenia on that pocket pick that made him so proficient in the first place to get to the stage. The fact that we've just got engage across the board for them to run at you and potentially pick apart members of Kanga. But for Kanga, you would say that's comfort and meta at the same time. It's everything and more.
Yeah, Kanga, I mean, for what it's worth, Kanga, I do think have been drafting very well for the past maybe 2-3 weeks. Since the addition of Benvi as well, it seems to have just been shaped up quite nicely. Their composition is scaling. It's fairly straightforward stuff as well, right? 2 hyper carries and an Ornn is a standard affair. Ornn into the Gnar matchup, you've seen Ornn be fine. And just scale up pretty well into that one. The Trundle is picked as a disengage tool, as something to keep the rest of the team alive, and does have a solid physical damage output through early game, even if that scales off, the Zeri comes into the mix. So they've got engage, they've got disengage and peel between a Trundle and a Renata and an Azir ultimate. They don't have range in their composition is the one thing that I will say, but Lethal Tempo Zeri has enough range and movement speed to get around team fights perfectly fine.
Certainly does. If that's one thing we've learned about Zeri across the world, been farming up a storm, gaining as many pentakills as you can feast your eyes upon. Let's load in now for the final game to kickstart week number 9. And if you're Kanga right now, having witnessed the result that Peace just found themselves in, you are feeling very confident now about your chances of trying to sneak in with what will be only 3 games remaining after tonight. Gravitas with nothing to lose, locking in comfort across the board. Can they play spoiler? That is the question.
Certainly is. And I mean, it also comes down to, is it a matter of comfort? Will they be able to play around things that are known for them and just play with abandon, right? No fear in how they play, or will they still succumb to the pressure that Kanga put down?
Let's see what kind of pressure is dealt, as no coaching interview this time around, so we get to witness all the magic of those first few minutes. See if anything cheeky happens with potential invades or just vision scouting, which is what Lemus has deployed right here. A few cheeky burst fires across the wall. Shen filling the wrath for that one, and Dajong also planting a deep ward on towards those Raptors, making sure they have great tracking as to where Foreigner is on this Trundle. Looks like both are going to start for the blue buff here, so are going to be parving opposite sides of the map. And another chance now for Benvi to showcase his brilliance, having made his introduction into the competitive scene. Been a long time I suppose this really would be his true introduction. Never really made it to OPL. Been around in coaching capacity. But a chance to showcase what it all looks like here today. But I'm curious to see where that first blood will really come from. I suppose you don't really need any further introduction for somebody like Fido on this Azir. That is his bread and butter. He was, for a time, the only person that literally played this champion until the rest of the region called on and said, hey, Skelly Mage is pretty good. Corki Victor, add those to the mix, and we are sitting pretty. Seems as if Scrim meta has certainly proven to be the hot talking point. I think we even heard from Babip saying when those hotfix went across, Sivir no longer a consideration, but 3 games from 4 today, Rusty.
Yeah, I mean, Sivir, it's funny how perspectives on champions also change as well pretty greatly between regions, between time and opinions as well, and how quickly that starts to shift. Sivir, maybe you say it affects it, maybe it's a big deal, and maybe Sivir's gone from the meta, but then a week later you've seen the LCK pick and you're like, oh, that's something that I hadn't considered, and it's such a small detail. You're like, actually, that's broken.
Sure.
I'll give you an example. I had a friend talking to me about Anivia support. I was like, why? But Glacial Augment procs on the wall, therefore it's broken.
That is very broken, I didn't know that.
Because now you can hit the Q instead of having to do like a Q predict with the wall combo. It's easier. And like that's such a small thing, but like maybe it works.
And completely changes what could be a potentially unfavorable matchup, right? The fact that Q projectile is ever so slow. Would be interesting to see what really changes, as this will be the final week on patch 12.13, and next week's a big one. I mean, we've only, 2 games left in that final week, with playoffs, what seemingly looks to be still a very tight finish to that playoff run. What other curveballs will be thrown here? Toppy flashing forward, looking for the kill, looking for the hyper. It's a perfect flash away from Lived. That boomerang may just have been lethal there.
I respect that from Toppy. He was definitely very close to having the lethal range, but Lived was, of course, there with flash ready. So once he realized that it was going to be a confirmed lethal range, just flashes away. The real win here for Toppy is that Lived is going to miss a fair amount of that experience and time spent teleporting back in. It also means that Toppy could walk, depending on how he wants to play this one. Eyes on mid real quick as Lenia is looking to hover, potentially just to protect Dajung. But ultimately nothing comes from it.
Bit of aggression in the bot lane as well. That is the grand entrance, jumped on top of the handshake, forcing 2 and 2 to lock together. Trading aggressively on either end as Dajun goes into the mist and gets off a few more 5-point strikes. And whilst there is a bit of cool, calm, and collection, I'm curious to see what build Lenia goes for, if it is to be, say, the Divine Sunderer or just, the Chem Tank.
You often see the tier and boots as the first recall from Hecarim, right? This is where the build starts to deviate. So is it, Muramana tank? Or is it full tank Hecarim? Always going to be in contention, especially when you've got movement speed in your composition. You could afford to go tanky, just have a bit more damage from that move speed, or because you're actually the focal point of the team, you want to have more damage. I feel like that's, but again, their composition as a whole is about having, I do think he has to be a frontline tank. So, more curious to see how he goes after that first item purchase.
Well, both junglers going to meet themselves in that bottom tri-bush. They're going to have a bit of a fight as the fight also breaks out in this 2v2. Flash wall there from Limbus. He's got the Baylor. He's got the aggression. He's got their damage, but it's stolen away by the Ignite from Benvi. That's first blood for Kanga.
Yeah, and Kanga just very nicely getting to the mix. They've been showing a lot of prowess already and proficiency in just the 2v2 skimmy. So junglers coming to the mix, they're all just going to be baits. And they just kind of force the fights to happen, allow the space to be there for unbridled aggression from Kanga. They will get it done. Top lane as well. While Toppy manages to retain his teleport, he has been absolutely bodied out in the follow-up 1v1s and will have to teleport back here himself. So when all's said and done, Skimmy, it is still just a game going the way of Kanga very early on.
Saving grace for Toppy is that he does TP back to a cannon wave, so he's not actually going to lose out on too much CS, whereas I believe Liv would have lost about 4 to 5 minions pushed out very early on. Every time we poke our head into mid lane, it just feels like Dajong is down at 50%. He's really feeling the pressure that a ranged Azir can bring. And now, Frozen Domain goes out, and there is the pillar. Thomas in a lot of trouble. He's hit the ghost. He's got a flash as well, Rusty.
Yeah, I mean, really nicely done to not have to flash there, to actually hold off on the spell shield till the correct ability comes down. Lenia with Ghost ready is not going.
Indecision, not sure which target to pounce upon, and might actually get punished as a result. He's going to try and find a little bit of sustain. He needs a bit of movement speed, and he cops a shield from the Rakan and thankfully gets away.
Yeah, it seems like he has enough mobility there with the phase rush to get himself out and manages to retain the Ghost. So far, Ghost only being used by Thomas Shen top all inning.
Yeah, certainly
Liv no
is.
mana.
Liv has nothing left in the tank after that one. A blind headbutt just to try and land and ignite. He's got the unsealed spellbook, so just says, I could have killed you. Just let you know that.
That is a very odd ignite. I mean, I could have killed you is like objectively incorrect given he has 0 mana.
Imagine if I had mana, I could have killed you.
If I had mana, you were so dead. But still just walks away. Just a lot of aggressive trading, I guess, is the core takeaway so far. Jungle is really struggling to get into the mix. Foreign is doing his job, which is to counter gank and prevent Lenia. And the indecision from Gravitas is being felt. Right, so do we go? No? Well, then I'm just going to lose 90% of my HP. And that adds up quite a lot. Lenia, unfortunately, is the one who's suffering the hardest from this situation.
If there's anybody that's going to make the second round work, you would bet your bottom dollar on it being this individual right here. Going to do a bit of cheeky invading right now and not just go for one. He wants to take away 2. He didn't get 6 from the blue. And he can't get the Gromp. Foreign will say thanks for the leash. And he won't take 6 either.
Both junglers actually 1 camp away from the level 6 mark. Lenia's got his red buff to go back to, though. So that was a really nice blue buff steal. Most Hecarim players, I'm sure, empathize with this as well. Foreigner took the blue from Gravitas, but if you don't have blue, your clear sucks. It's just so much slower or risky for mana usage. But now you can just spam abilities, right, with no care for your mana pool. So get through everything a lot faster. And we'll be sitting pretty in his jungle clear. One other small point that we have to keep in our minds here is I don't think we've seen Piglet play Rakan. He's definitely not a support main for what it's worth. He has transitioned to the role, so we expect over time he'll start to develop a deeper champion pool. This is the first real test of him on something like a Rakan.
Certainly one of the more advanced supports in the arsenal that a support player can look to lock in. But it fits the bill as to what their comp is built to do. Be quick.
Yeah, Rakan's a unique one, isn't he? Because like you can make mistakes and get out. So like that is the user-friendly portion of Rakan's kit, is that you have 2 E dashes. The other part though is that if you miss, then you're useless. Oh, okay.
Bajan could be in a bit of trouble right now. Can use the perfect execution to try and buy time and run away from Ben V, who will not know where to land that handshake given he's in the shrouds. Yeah, Fido just hits him with the Emperor's Divide and says, you're not going anywhere.
You're trying to force a trade. I'll be right there to make sure you don't win that one. Benvi flashing is actually quite a big commitment to the fight. Fido's still super healthy, all things considered, when it's said and done. Kanga with nothing really to fight for. So, you know, you use the flash, fair enough. Maybe you're at risk of dying from this point onwards.
Oh, that's a fantastic
Nice
pillar.
cancel.
Instantly interrupting his dash away, but there is the ease that you just highlighted before. Second dash away. He's out without a real punish. I'm interested about this bot lane because Lemus has got himself a Cole. He's already up a significant amount of CS. Once he cashes that in, he can look for plays like this. In a 1v1, he can certainly challenge Thomas Shen, who's forced to burn that on the hunt. He's going to look for the Ultra Shock Laser. He had it. He didn't decide to hit it against the tower for the extended range.
I don't know if Thomas Shen used his spell shield, did he, at the very start of that one?
It looked like he did.
Yeah, it felt like he did as well. Either way, charge goes on in mid lane. They'll take some turret damage. Lenia just hovering, protecting Darjung, but reality is this Akali is out of the lane until she bases. Hop going again.
Here we go again, Liv, with maybe just a little bit more mana this time.
A bit more mana.
Just a little bit.
Enough. Not enough to get the kill, however. Darjung persistently staying, is finally going to go back to base. If Fido lets him. I mean, for a second there, you think
You really thought that the Bermuda Triangle of dash on through?
For the angle. But no, he's going to go back to base. And so one thing that we mentioned in draft, Skimmy, was that Thomas Shen might be able to survive the 1v1 against a Zeri. Zeri is fairly small in range. You can push waves and keep Zeri so busy with minions that she doesn't have time to hit you. But Lima's feeling so confident now, and summoners being used, pressure being granted towards this Zeri, that you can still fight Siva with the ult combo because you can chase her down. And that really is what you started to see from him there, right? Like, just found an opening where there's no minions to be worried about, where there's an ability to dash forwards and pressure. If you can close the distance, Siva can be targeted.
Instant ghost. Thomas Shen wasting no time for this one. Laser goes sideways, and the gank will not connect. And that's what I suppose I find interesting between these two AD carries, right? Short range, but with lethal tempo, obviously that will help, but it all relies on them hitting a target, because that's when they get the movement speed, and that sort of patches up the weakness of not having, say, a Caitlyn style range.
Yeah, the movement speed's meant to be the compensating factor, but if you have no threat, then being close range is just rough, no matter how fast you move, right? Whenever you're in range, they're going to out-trade you. That becomes hard to deal with. Benvi just going to use the hostile takeover.
Yeah, looking for this one. Out goes the turret. Instantly, they summon the Sand Soldiers and the Sand Castle to zone away what has been a very rough laning phase here for the Akali.
Yeah, it goes from bad to worse as well. That turret put down by Phyto to make sure that there's no point in even having the Shroud to disengage. Toppy going to walk mid just to say that I can confirm that that turret has in fact fallen and is going to potentially lose plates top lane, so the commitment has to be for the Drake. If not, that is a very odd roam. And he's just going to walk back top. Gravitas are going to commit to the play without their top laner. It is going to be a 4v4. Benvi no ultimate, however, nor Trundle, nor Azir. But still with enough gas in the tank, apparently, to push Gravitas back.
They certainly do, Rusty. Liv doesn't have a teleport as well. He's cycled through the options and currently possesses a heal, so it would have just been a 4v4. Toppy was mini, so perhaps felt that his presence wouldn't really merit the TP usage. And Kanga just freely walk into the river and pick up their second.
Yeah, it would have been awkward to TP as well, though, for Toppy, right? He would have had to go to the bottom outer. Don't know the really available position that would have existed. The mid lane outer already dead, so it would have been quite a journey to walk mid, walk back top, teleport bottom. Gravitas are just going to choose to disengage the play in its entirety. Mid is obviously very strong for Fighter, right? He's into an assassin. Very hard to proc the crown once again. But out of turret in a whole lot of danger. That teleport.
They're really trying to hold on.
Darjung.
Just waiting for Lenia to pull the trigger with that onslaught of shadows. I believe it just came off cooldown now. It looked like the perfect angle as they were disengaging away through that tribush. And TP utilized on what is now an infernal map. There's the flash and the shovel away, and Lenia's just headbutted a wall, and that's not what you want to see. Benvi with the flash ult to try and buy some time, but Darjung procs the bailout. They find themselves a 1-for-1. Full HP, he wraps around now looking for a second target. It was a rough laning phase for him, but he's got Phyto locked in his sights. That's a massive two-man knock-up because Azir goes golden. Out he goes, and bam, they smack down Piglet. Toppy finally rocks up. He's primed and ready to go. Boomerang 1, 2, 3. Mega is there. He doesn't have flash, but surely he can get the jam. He needs to leap on through. It must be on cooldown, but Darjung finally finds Retribution, and now he's 2-0.
And I cannot stress this enough, but the entire team of Gravitas just abandoned Thomas Shen. Foreign in an epic 1v1 with Krugs, but Limas wins the duel. Limas wins the 1v1. Thomas Shen has just been left alone. They all walk past him. The poor guy just gets murdered in broad daylight. Top lane turret is looking like Liv is just going to look at Lenia, say, yeah, you've wasted your E, that's mine now. I assume Liv is tanky enough to just walk out of this one. Things go from bad to worse for Gravitas because the turrets fall left, right, and center before the skirmish even really happens.
It certainly does. 3 turrets uncontested. Let's run it back with this fight once again, because it all starts with Fido really hard forcing the play.
Benvi's super low level here compared to Darjung as well, right? So he's inevitably just going to get targeted. Really well done with the perfect execution. R2 just knows where he's going to be. And this is where the fight gets a little bit dicey, right? Because they've used their ultimates. Fido, Foreigner also not having it. Turret's going to drop. Flash is used by Limas. Everyone's like, okay, this is a free fight. Teleports are coming in. They're like, let's go for Fido, guys. And Thomas Shen's like, guys? He's literally left alone. He just dies. He literally just gets abandoned and just dies. They'll go in. They'll get Fido. Fair enough. Ends up being a trade. It could have been amazing if Thomas Shen just pulled out a miraculous 1v1. But surely a drive by Q from an Akali could have helped.
Did you run your own, Chief? I've got bigger battles to try and play for.
One 5-point strike could have helped.
Certainly mind control by the appeal of laying some vengeance towards that Azir.
Mate, that Faker was looking like a snack. That Oath
Absolutely.
Faker.
He had to.
Just tunnel vision, blinkers on.
A horse at the races is what I'd say.
That's exactly what I just referenced, Skibby. Well done. I wasn't sure if you get that
I'm one with you, mate. We spent enough time together.
Not at the races.
Oh, certainly not at the races. In the game.
Yeah.
So 16 minutes in. Big gold lead, up by 5,000. And Kanga are going to work their way towards getting the second Herald. Big Limes, top of the table. Huge gold lead over Thomas Shen. A big reason why he did win that 1v1.
Yeah, he's actually very far behind. I didn't think it would be that bad, but now looking at the items, that definitely sticks out like a sore thumb. Still a 2-0 mid laner here for Gravitas is probably the saving grace. This is almost harkening back to a Gravitas of old, right? A Gravitas of Split 1, where their mid laner is a threat, but the rest of the team is struggling to keep up with that pace. However, it's almost the Toppy effect. If you remember back to a couple of previous games of Gravitas where Toppy was fed, he's just picking kills where he can find them, but the overall fight is still a loss. You know, the Camille gets into a flank and it assassinates one carry, but there's still 2 more carries that are annihilating your whole team. That's kind of the vibe and the energy that we're getting from this performance so far. You might be able to kill Envy 3 more times in the game, but if he's pressed R and the rest of Kanga is winning, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, the stats will look pretty, but Kanga are appearing to be a Hydra in this one, right? Multiple heads, you've chopped off one, but the rest still reign supreme and say we can still win out this team fight. And despite your KDA looking good, we've got the victory screen, which is what Kanga
That's the
desperately
best looking
needs.
KDA of all.
It certainly is.
Herald's still to be summoned here as well. Foreigner sitting on that one. I guess you would expect it to go towards a solo laner in a side lane. You want to protect Fighto the most. Kind of let Lived go and have a good time. He's a couple of levels away from wanting the group anyway, just to forge some items for the team. But Gravitas are also highly aware of the Azir lane being the point that they want to prioritize, they want to focus. But as per a previous point, Fighter with his crown build, pretty hard to proc that. You need some kind of incidental damage here, and Akali doesn't have any of it. Hecarim doesn't have any of it. Rakan doesn't have any of it.
Really a boomerang from either the Sivir or the Gnar.
Yeah, that's really what you're hoping for. But until such a time, it's really difficult to kill Fido. And now the team of Kanga have reset. They've planted themselves in mid. They've given a bit more priority towards the mid wave. They get to branch forwards and get some deeper vision down. It means that Fido has freedom to move. A Herald has freedom to be summoned. And that's what we're going to be looking forward to next.
Well, let's see how Kanga set up for this one. They're going to wrestle for mid lane control. They're going to say, we're greedy. We're going to steal away that blue buff as well. Dajong tried in with the rocket belt, looking for a cheeky bit of aggression, rather, onto Fido. But he says, I can be quick as well, and jump straight in. Dajong with the moves, ults out, and goes into the Shroud for 1 second. Says, I need the team. I need some backup. Being swarmed upon. Misses the E, and misses the kill onto Fido. That's huge. Now goes in Piglet with the quickness, charming up as many members as he can possibly find. That's a massive Gnar into the wall. It locks in place too. They remove Limes, and he's getting himself a massive shutdown as a result. Lenia picks up his first kill, and Gravitas actually going to answer back.
The teleport's going to come through because Fighto stayed alive. Lived is still full HP, and so he is unstoppably large, and it will still be the objective going the way of Kanga when all said and done, but a closer team fight than perhaps Kanga was prepared to look for. And I think this is one of those situations, depending on what happens here, Smite will confirm it for Foreigner. You probably look at the death recap if you're Limas and you look at the stun duration. I don't think I saw him move. He got knocked into a wall and just stayed there for about 6 seconds straight. Has flash, I think still had the E to get over the wall, couldn't use it. So that's really devastating. It was a proto belt that actually procced the crown at the very start of this one. Fido feeling himself, says that is a split Akali that's turned the flank into the flank. Huge hostile takeover, but a very early level Benvi means that it's not going to mean too much. Flash used by Dajong to try and confirm the kill because the E missed. And this is where the fight breaks out. Limas gets charmed, gets knocked into a wall, gets walloped, is stunned, is dead, right? Like, she's just stun locked into infinity. The rest of the fight actually quite nice for Gravitas, even though the kill wasn't confirmed by Dajong. It takes Fido out of the fight, and then they assassinate the second carry in Limas.
Well, that was a good 2v2, or 2-4-2 rather. We just come out of that replay into an absolute shellacking here by Kanga. They've removed 4 and summoned the Herald.
They certainly have. Look, I'd rather spend more time talking about that last fight that was okay for Gravitas. It's gone. All hope just dissipates in a single moment. Kanga will look towards Baron. A steal from Lenia has got the ult. That's all you're really banking on. He doesn't know the HP, he doesn't know the situation, and instead finds himself in his ear.
It still gets knocked up. Fido! Oh, very close there with the Sand Soldiers. Would have been kind of crazy if he could sneak in that kill as well as acquiring the Baron. Let's run it back and see what actually happened in mid.
I guess we just got to see exactly how this pans out. Both solo laners are bottom. Limas goes forwards, just takes out Thomas Shen with a flash that he still had from the previous fight. Piglet's gone. A teleport comes through. He's dead. Crazy. And Toppy died to the 2 solo laners. That's quite simply Limas saying, I want to end the game.
Wow.
My first thought was minimap, where are the solo laners? Are they collapsing? No, they're killing Toppy. Fair enough.
Well, I think Limas has hit that point of the game where he's had enough, as you say.
Yeah, he's sick of it.
He's flashing forward aggressively, playing like a Lucian, getting it done for the team. And with a Baron buff, they will certainly be looking to end it as a team. They can look to try and siege as many lanes as possible. Prepping a wave in bot side is Liv right now, as the other 4 look to try and do as much work as they can with these remaining minions. Another wave about to come on through. Darjan coming in from the flank. Toppy Mega right now. Doesn't have flash.
It's now or never for Gravitas.
And he can't do the Nara against the wall. Darjan so patient, but now being cut off from the side with the Sandcastle. They're looking for the targets. They're looking for the pick. They're going to try and jump in.
Limas.
Hostile takeover buys as much time as possible to try and turn this one around. TP goes across. And Piglet going in with the charm, but dies in the process. Limas now 4 kills to his name. Quarter to Forge Gods. Toppy is just dead as a pillar. And a knock up. And it is just absolute devastation. That is looking like an ace. With Thomas Shen topped up and healthy. No one around to back him up.
It is carnage, and it is very simple for Kanga to execute. They just stand and deliver. You want to engage onto us, we will welcome the fight. They look for the last kill into Thomas Shen as well, and that is easy as you would like. Kanga, no signs of slowing down.
So no signs whatsoever, and a very convincing victory in a very quick fashion. Kanga, 1 game buff for now over Peace, and can close out the day feeling very comfortable.
And once again, right, like Gravitas, we know that the 0-17 team right now in the LCO, you wouldn't expect them to come into this game and have anything to say against Kanga. And for Kanga themselves, it is always must win, regardless of your opponent. So you have to take everything seriously to continue to make the run. With Peace's loss, with Kanga's win, that puts them 1 win ahead, I believe. That's right. Into 5th place with 3 games left. And because they have head-to-head, it's effectively 2 games up.
Crazy end of the game. It was literally out of nowhere. I felt like, look, Gravitas were playing pretty well. They were keeping up. They were doing things right. The execution in terms of the team fights was looking pretty damn good. And I was thinking, okay, well, maybe they got a shot here if they can survive a little longer. And then we come out of a replay. There was 4 dead Gravitas members. Kitty and I were like, hang on. That does not look normally. And then Baron was gone and then the game was gone. So crazy how things can just crumble in a matter of moments. But at the same time, interesting affair. Kanga doing a real good job and ended up being a very convincing win after, look, there wasn't much going on in the first 15 minutes. We had a couple of really slow early games from these teams tonight. But still, I found this one interesting to watch just in terms of how everything was kind of playing out.
Yeah, things are looking really bright for Kanga, right? Because they are currently 1 win ahead of Peace, where Peace needs 2 wins to catch up. And I just want to mention that the very first kill in this game was in that bot lane, and me and Matt kind of only noticed at the 20-minute mark that Sivir went Ghost. I don't know if this is something that Thomas Shen has invented himself, or we've seen other pro players take this, but I think it is quite interesting into Zeri, because Zeri wants to keep up, but how do you keep up with a Ghost ultimate on the Sivir? But I do want to mention that this Hecarim, it did okay. It didn't do the worst, but it did okay. So I'm not too upset about it, but I think it's just these picks in mid lane where you're going up for unnecessary reasons really cause Gravitas to just throw the entire game all over. Because I did mention to Mac, this game is either 35 minutes or it's going to be 20 minutes. Either they're all going to get aced in mid lane or no one's going to die and they're just going to have a Sivir versus Azir show. And we got the 20-minute one.
Yeah, the shorter version ended up being the thing. Although we did get to see Lenia on Hecarim finally. You did mention it. I noticed that Lenia just looked that much better in terms of when he was doing those jungle clears. He was doing the multi-camps, something you expect at someone, playing at this level. And I feel like every time we've watched him play other champs, he doesn't really get to do that. Maybe the champs don't have that kind of thing. Anything you want to touch on here in terms of this scoreboard? It looks very one-sided in almost all aspects.
We do see that Dajong is the most damage on Gravitas, but he is playing Akali into Renata and Trundle and Ornn, which is extremely painful for an assassin because we did see him try on multiple occasions trying to execute Limas in those team fights, and it did not work out for him because I believe Benvi was just being a bodyguard, pressing W. He's on W duty basically for Limas, and it's just impossible to play as the Akali.
Impossible indeed. Now, that's another loss for Gravitas, but another win for Kanga, so that storyline continues as they edge that little bit further forward towards that 5th position, although you mentioned they jumped up there now. I guess we'll have a look at that in a little while once we do get to the scoreboards. But look, in terms of the draft, I asked Benvi about it. He said we're just going to play something fun. That looked pretty fun. They just kind of got to do whatever the hell they wanted. He got to play Renata. He had one ridiculously good ult. It was just like too early game and still a level 1 ult as well when he sent it down that corridor before the fight. You know the one I'm talking about.
I do.
And I was like, oh, this is going to be sick. But then nothing happened because it was still a level 1 Renata ult. So
It's because their damage is too low, so they don't kill anyone from the Renata ult.
It's too early for that.
yeah, too early. Anyway,
Sivir would be insane, actually, if you hit a Renata ult.
With the
It would
ricochet?
have bounced between everyone. That'd be...
only if Ricochet was
Thought of that.
activated, right? Or does it
Yeah.
activate?
That'd be crazy if Ricochet activated. Hostile takeover, boom.
True. Either way, we do have someone on the line who we kept waiting. Sorry. Get in here, my friend.
Get
Who
in
is
here.
it? It's Lived. My man up top doing work. How was that today up against Toppy? You guys were having a little bit of fun up there.
Yeah, we kind of just had both irrelevant roles that game. We kind of just like sat there for like 20 minutes and did nothing. So yeah, that was kind of fun.
It's like a classic top laner gameplay, but look, you have the new glasses, so are these new or looking quite sleek, my man?
Yeah, I lost my glasses on the train back from media day, so I blame you guys for that. That's your guys' fault.
Yeah, sorry. I don't know what else to say. I got plenty of glasses, but how blind are you, real quick?
I'm pretty blind. It's just a long distance. They're just distance glasses, so yeah, I can't see stuff far away. I need them for driving.
Okay, well I'm ridiculously blind, so maybe mine will be too strong for you. If you're down at finals, look, we can compare pairs and we can just be like, wow, I have better eyes. Anyway, great game today. The storyline, the redemption arc you always speak about continues. Another win for Kanga. We believe you're going to be up towards that 4th, 5th mark. It depends on what your head-to-heads are and how everyone else played today, but I think you're in that top 5 after today's win. Now you just need to stay there. So, how's the team feeling? Does everyone believe that this arc is going to continue?
Yeah, definitely. I think everyone is very confident we'll actually make playoffs at this point. I think everyone's in a really good mental state as well, and they're like everyone's trying their absolute best to like play as well as they can. So I actually think we have a very, very high chance of making playoffs from this point on.
Momentum is extremely strong in the Kanga camp right now, and we see that from your performances in your recent games. Well, I do want to mention that Limas and Benvi have been looking extremely good in their games. So what's changed for Limas for him to have this transformation?
I don't know. You went to Korea, came back a different man. I don't know what to say. It's just solo queue gap from Korea, I guess. I don't know. Something changed in his mind.
That's why all the players that have been to Korea said on our media day that they rather go to Korea and do a boot camp because apparently you just have transformations from there and you turn into like a K-pop idol or something. Well,
Yeah.
congrats on the win once again, Liv. You guys are good luck in solidifying 5th because Mac is your #1 fan.
Thank you, Mac. Thank you. We'll win for you. We'll make it to playoffs, make it to finals just for you.
Yes.
Just so we can compare glasses.
My man, let's go. All right, well,
Ultimate goal.
I'll see you there, Liv. We'll let you go.
I know. See you later.
Oh my god, you look so different.
I do. That's why I wear him, because I look... Oh, who's that guy? Anyway,
Oh.
I'm back. Mac's back. MVP discussion. Their MVP discussion time. Who was it? Who did the most?
That's a very good question, isn't it?
I have a clear frontrunner.
Yep.
My frontrunner is maybe Limas because he did engage on that fight in mid lane, which got them Baron.
Yeah. It's just funny that you said clear front runner, then you said maybe.
Maybe, yeah.
Clear
I was
front
scared
runner.
that you guys were
Yeah.
going to.
Not 100% sure. Can you guys just make sure I'm sure?
Clearly, maybe possibly Lemus as well.
I mean, I put the foot down on Bulldog, so I'm down to. I'm just go with you guys on this one.
Yes,
I made sure Bard got in there.
MVP of the day, for this game at least, was your boy Lemus down in the bot lane. So we had a little highlight of him earlier, and again, he's doing cool things with his hands. Man's having fun with an 80% KP, jumping around and just doing work on the Zeri. Man's, yeah, not too much more to say. It wasn't a very long game, so still great damage share considering.
You know, I do have a question. Does Siva E proc when the Zeri Qs you, like the auto attack? Does that count as
It probably would. I don't know, actually.
Because
we asked about that,
There was a fight bottom where it...
I don't think it. I think it is still treated like an auto attack.
It'd have to be an auto attack.
Okay.
I don't think so.
You guys mentioned it, and then we were like,
Particularly
hang
when it
on,
passive, it has
is
to
that
be an
how
auto
the
attack.
interaction
There was one
works?
time when, like, yeah, we were expecting him to laser the turret, and we thought the spell shield's already been burnt. But I
Yeah.
think there was that one where he got left to the walls in a straight 1v1. I'm pretty sure he hit the spell shield there, and like a Q went out, and just nothing happened. So
Okay. Well,
think so.
maybe that's some
that
homework.
one time when Thomas Shen was just left alone.
bye. Have a nice time.
Toby and what's his name just left him, and we're like,
That
bye
was-
bye.
I'm head out.
Beautiful. That was comedy, that one. Now, look, play of the daytime. Any takers? Anyone want to have a guess other than the ones that we've already thrown out there?
Beyond the one that Kitty mentioned, probably not. I feel like that was an early front runner. The Viego
Other Poltron,
reset
Viego,
on
yeah.
reset
Yep, well, guess what?
combo.
Kitty was right. You're right, Rusty. Congratulations.
Thanks,
it
Kitty.
was that play. Poltron down in the bot lane. Middle of the team fight. Look how much health he's got going in. Look how much health he has through the fight. How many resets he gets. Not even just Viego ones. He's getting bloody Renata resets as well when he's transformed. So big shout outs to this man mechanically. And then he did die eventually. Not only that, but it was first blood as well. So big plays coming through there for Direwolves to get them that early lead and get them into the game in one of their must-wins.
The key feature here is the time purchase, right? So like, it's not going to be the flashiest Viego MVP type team fight, but he buys so much time for his squad to actually stay there and continue to output damage that that is the difference maker, right? They go first, they survive longer, and so they win the team fight and get themselves the snowball even.
And it was fun. It was a good game. Like, you don't get to see... When you talk about resets, sometimes the resets are kind of like, yeah, cool, you got resets. But this one, there was like a little bit more fanciness to it. It's like the time when... Oh... Who was it? Was it Kevy, who was Viego, and he turned into the Lee Sin and then did like a ward hop?
Yeah.
It was Kevin.
Yeah,
That
was
lives
Kevy.
rent-free in your head forever.
Oh, it's so good.
Yeah.
It's just one of those moments, man. Anyway,
Shout
look,
out Kevy.
shout out Kev. He's not with us anymore, but he's in greener pastures. Now, speaking of greener pastures, let's have a look at the leaderboard after everything's gone down today. At the top, Chiefs still undefeated. We thought maybe today was the day where that all changed. But Direwolves are going to be tied with Order there at second after both these teams got those dubs. PGG with that loss sends them down to 4th place, just barely by 1 win. But then have a look at this. Kanga now in 5th position. They were already there, but now they've leaped up, not only with the head-to-head, but they are another game. And this is when implications start to come back and hit us and bite us and all that stuff, because Peace, to get 5th, now need to get back above Kanga, and that's 2 wins. That's not just 1 win away, that is 2 wins away, and relies on Kanga losing twice. And Kanga do not look like they are going to be losing anytime soon. Mammoth with that loss, they're out of the race. Gravitas, they've been out of the race, but 0 to 18 means that they are very well out of the race, but still hunting for that first win. Now, back to that 5th point. Are we expecting Peace to make that happen with the form that they look like they're in right now?
Morale just plays such a big role when it comes to these standings, and I think with the current form that Kanga has been showing us and what we've been receiving from Peace, it's looking very unlikely. And looking at the schedules that we have for the two teams, I believe that Peace has the harder matches.
They've got Chiefs tomorrow, whereas Kanga have Mammoth.
Oh, no.
So I mean, Peace's tomorrow is going to be deflating for
Peace need to
morale.
beat Chiefs to stay in contention,
Well,
right?
essentially-
Because there's 3 games left and they need to win 1 more than Kanga.
You're hoping Peace win all their games next week. If we're discounting the Chiefs game, you're hoping they win everything in week 10. You're hoping that Mammoth can upset Kanga and lose everything in week 10 as well. It's
If Kanga
Very
win and Peace
unlikely.
lose, I'm
So
pretty sure
tough.
Peace are
Look,
out.
the less games remaining, the more interesting everything becomes, right? And speaking of the games remaining, let's have a look at tomorrow's games. The schedule, what have we got in order here? Some absolute crackers I'm staring at. Kanga up against Mammoth. Look, Mammoth the conversation of them being in the running for the top 5, now that's changed. So unfortunately, they won't make playoffs, they won't make worlds, but they can play spoiler and still get a big old dub against Kanga. And Mammoth's the kind of team that can play loosey-goosey when they got no pressure on their shoulders. Chiefs against Peace, it's really going to be a test of Peace's form because they have had a good couple of shots in the last couple of matches, but it really depends on which piece we're getting on the day. Order and Direwolves, another big one, which could have been the contender for match of the week.
1-to-1 head-to-head.
1-to-1 head-to-head. Whoever wins gets that slight advantage, and look, they're tied on the scoreboard right now as well, so they're going to be jumping up a little higher. And then to round things out, PGG and Gravitas. Gravitas getting that last game of the day, 2 days in a row. We'll see if they can lock in that Hecarim and play spoiler to PGG's dream run to 2nd to 3rd, because if they're going down in 4th, they've only got that 1 life all the way through playoffs. So maybe playing spoiler could be on the card. Skimmy.
Yep.
I feel like this is a loaded question, but which is the game of the day?
Match of the week, number 2.
Yep.
Third game. Battle between these two second place teams, tied 1-1. I mean, you just can't look past that one. I mean, perhaps you put in a shoe in for the PGG game and say they're probably going to play like a Kalista mid and a Nidalee jungle, and that could be kind of interesting, but I would be looking at the third game for sure.
Well, look, we've had a lot of pauses today. Does anyone want to say anything before I close the show, but only say one word, not crazy amounts? Because when I gave it to you last week, everyone just kept on talking.
The camera cut to us like we were going to say something.
Yeah, well, I was hoping.
Bye.
Bye.
Sausage.
Yep.
Sausage.
Oh, Kitty's bloody zipped it shut. Good. Beautiful. You guys, go home, go to sleep. We've got much more action on tomorrow, as you saw on the schedule. Thank you all for watching the LCO delivered by Menulog, and we'll be back tomorrow with Live Gun and much more action.
Been bubbled. Oh, that's a lot of damage. He's just gone. Rogue, as tank as he may be. He's looking for the second. He can't cleanse the exhaust. Is he going to die underneath turrets? Oh, he's so low. The minions are hurting. Alatorek can't do much about it, and Yuri's got the inline track. Alatorek snipes it, but he's going to fall on down his turret aggro, and Yuri's going to miss one of those. But he's just going to buy his time.
He can't get it.
Oh, no, he's flashed the wrong way. Great.
He's going to die to the turret.
He's denied himself.
I cannot believe he just got executed.
Oh, no. Ali G as well. Both supports in the area, but both mid laners here as well. The Ignite goes out, and here's the bailout. Ali G looking for that prop, but he won't find a Poltron. Just clutches it there with the Soul Claim, and he also lives a little bit longer. Another reset. Poltron has bought infinite time, and surely now Direwolves absolutely sweep this fight. That was perfect. It is here, the culling goes out, nice and early, but Puma has no mana after this one. It's a big component of his DPS. The fight starts, Kisse using the depth charge against them, knocks them all up. Back, big slam, it's been stolen by Goodo! Order have got the Baron, they've removed Lisa, and now can he win the team fight? There's a curse for Peace and Barons. I don't know what it is, Rusty, but Order are just wiping them. They're looking for the targets, they're looking for the pick, they're going to try and jump in. Hostile takeover buys as much time as possible to try and turn this one around. TP goes across, and Piglet going in with the charm, but dies in the process. Limas now 4 kills to his name. Quarter to Forge God, Toppy is just dead as a pillar. And a knock up, and it is just absolute devastation. That is looking...
Hey, look, menu bomb.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is time for round 3 to commence. Are you ready to rumble?